Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Lounge podcast with your host, Liz and KT. And this week, we are kind of doing like a part two from last week's episode. So if you haven't listened to that, go listen to that either before or after this episode, whatever floats your boat. And we're just going to be delving more deeper into the topic of femininity and womanhood. But before that, make sure you're following this podcast. Like, it takes zero point 0.2 seconds, if even that, and it helps us out a lot and will help us grow. And before we get into the topic, as you guys know, we have our weekly segment. So first, what we have been up to. So the day that this is posted, me and Liz will actually be on our third day of classes for our senior year of college, which is actually crazy. And I'm just hoping that hopefully we doing good and school hasn't broken us down yet by the third day. And then oh, okay. So I'm bringing up this next thing because my mom told me I should bring it up on the podcast, which I'm like, low key, why is it a jump scare when like people bring up the podcast? Like, it's nothing I'm embarrassed about, but when people bring it up, I'm like, yeah, I have a podcast. I wish y'all could see Liz because she was agreeing with me. But yeah, so we were like driving back home, and y'all, I've been seeing these things for years. People be having these black Sasquatch cutouts, like, I swear to God. And I swear, every single people that I talk to about it, they literally have no idea what I'm talking about. But you just like see them, and I see them. Okay, I don't see them everywhere, but I see them like a lot of places, very randomly. Sometimes I see them like on people's yards, but I swear I've seen them like on the side of the road or something. And I'm like, what does it mean? Like, at first I was like, maybe it's like some type of like Republican, like deep internet thing. But when you look it up, like, why are there black Sasquatch cutouts of people's yards? All that comes up is like Bigfoot sightings. Like, there's nothing about it on the internet. So I just think I should have a documentary and have like a whole research, like, investigation into this and expose a secret. Because I bet you it's like some deep internet thingy that like only a select few people know. And I bet you it's some QAnon stuff. But anyways, that's the end of my rant. Liz, what have you been up to?
So I don't have anything new, but I'm just gonna go off of what Kennedy was saying because I didn't know that those things were called Sasquatch. Like I've seen them in people's yards, especially on my way back to school. There's this house that I always pass by, and it's like a Bigfoot one, and it's just like on top of a hill. And I used to think it was like, I don't know, to scare away the animals or something. But now that Kennedy's talking about it, you got me thinking, Kennedy. I'm gonna go on a deep dive after this episode, but I don't got really nothing new.
Yeah, my mom brought up how like maybe it's to scare away animals, and I could see that. And honestly, that's probably a more realistic answer than me thinking it's like some undercover like conspiracy theory. But I mean, that's just my brain. But I digress. Now we're gonna get into our favorites of the week. For my favorites, very simple. They're very like intertwined with each other, and that is my manifesting playlist and journaling. So my manifesting playlist. This might sound crazy to people who don't manifest, but this is like a technique that I found out recently when I watched this video. And basically, you have like this playlist when you like do like the mirror method, which is essentially just like listening to this song, blasting in like your headphones out loud, singing these lyrics to yourself. So it's like manifest, or so it's like affirmations out loud. And you just play songs from the playlist that are like what you're trying to embody, I guess. So like so far my playlist, I have the songs like Rich Girl, Karma by Taylor Swift, Started from the Bottom, Baddest of them All, Loaded, things like that, just like your best self. And then journaling, y'all. I've been watching so many journaling videos. Like, I'm really trying to get into it. And I recently bought some journals from Amazon. So I'm gonna like try to get in a routine of journaling before I go to bed when I'm like back at school. Cause I think that'll be like really nice to have that like wind down time and not be on my phone. Cause blue light and all that stuff. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna journal my first journal prompt tomorrow since it'll be my birthday. My birthday will already passed by the time this is posted, but in the time we're recording, my birthday is tomorrow. And yeah, those are my favorites of the week.
My favorite of the week is my walks that I've been doing. Me and my siblings and my cousin, we are doing like 75 hard, but like modified version. So we're doing one workout a day because two's a little excessive, especially with like school and everything. That's a lot. So we're doing one workout a day, and I've been going on daily walks, and I'm gonna get back into going to the gym too, hopefully. So the walks have been really nice, though. It's like I walk pretty fast, people say, and when I like do my daily walks, I do notice that my time is like pretty fast. It'd be like 18 minutes or like 17 minutes per mile for a walk. So but what I'm hearing is catch me in the Olympics as a speed walker, 2020, 2028. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I might need to jump on that 75 hard modified wave because I need to get my life together. But next, the sports corner, which this is just me trying to ramble about stuff. So, yeah, I just have some things to say. So, I'm not going to repeat myself more than once about this thing, but it is race week this week that this is posted. It's the first race back from break, and I'm so excited. I feel like summer break for F1 just went by so fast. It's 3 weeks, but it literally feels like 1 week. And it is in the Netherlands. It's the Dutch GP. Honestly, I don't really care about that. But I'm gonna put my like hopes for this weekend out into the world through this podcast. But I'm hoping Ferrari comes back from this break with a clear mindset and some improvements because they were struggling. And then, of course, what I want for the podiums, I, of course, just want my McLarens and Ferraris up there. Like, that would be perfect. But I'm very interested to see how the rest of the season plays out because we got the rest of the year left. And I think it's going to be very interesting. Especially okay, I'm just gonna give y'all like a quick little rundown. So if you don't know, if you're not F1 fan, basically the last couple like years have been very dominated by Max Verstappen and Red Bull. But this season alone, there has been like 6 different race winners. So I'm very interested to see like okay, who's gonna win some races these next races, and I think it's gonna be very competitive between the teams for the constructors championship at the end of the year. So I'm just excited, and I'm just excited for this season to end. And then I'm excited for the 2025 season because I'm like, if everyone is doing so well this year, I'm excited to see like who's top dog in 2025. I have a feeling it's still going to be Red Bull, but I think with Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari and all that stuff, like it's just going to be very, very, very competitive racing, and I'm super excited about that. But enough of my sports talk. Now we're going to get into our pop culture and trendy topics.
So, if you listened to the podcast last week, you heard about our little It Ends With Us drama with the whole movie, book to screen adaptation, and everything. And y'all, the drama just continues because, according to People's Magazine, I sound like a whole reporter right now. Justin Baldoni, the main guy, producer, he hired a PR manager with all like the drama that's going on. And I don't know if you saw too, Kennedy, the poster, like the movie screen poster of what it looks like the poster that came out in actuality versus the poster that was supposed to come out. And it's like completely different because obviously the poster right now like focuses like on Blake Lively, and the old poster it was like it had like a little quote about like survivors of like domestic violence or something like that, and it was like very different, like you can tell that there was difference in opinions about like the theme of the movie is what I'm gathering.
That's crazy. I did not see anything about a poster, but I'm gonna have to look into that after recording. I swear every day we just keep getting fed so much information. And I also saw a TikTok earlier about how Blake Lively allegedly thinks that like Justin Baldoni like body shamed her and that she thinks that he kissed her too long on a scene. And people just think that Blake's PR team is just feeding these media companies stories, and I don't know if we mentioned this last week, but I forgot to say that like during the premiere of It Ends With Us, like Justin like watched the movie in a completely different theater than like at least I know Blake. I don't know about like the rest of the cast, but they watched it in 2 separate theaters. I'm like, dang, that's actually crazy. Like there's so much drama going around this movie. I'm actually like so shook about it. So I'm just interested to see where this all like ends because I feel like a lot of people like okay, like Blake Lively, everyone loves her, but I feel like a lot of people now are like kind of turning on her and saying that like, oh, she's a mean girl. And like I've seen people pull up this old interview clip where the interviewer like was like, oh, like how do you like your baby bump or something like that? And Blake Lively was kind of offended about it. She was like, well, how do you like your belly bump? And yeah, so I was like, ooh, it's not looking too good for her. Like everyone seems to be on Justin's side, which I think as they should be. But yeah, it's just very interesting because who would have thought all this drama would have came out of It Ends With Us?
And on another note, we have, school gearing back up and it's time for the rush talk. Me and Kennedy, we love seeing the Rush Talk. You know, we are not affiliated with sororities. We are not in Greek life or anything. But something about like seeing it, especially like the more southern Rush Talk, it's just like it's a whole reality TV show in and of itself. But I don't know if Kennedy, if it's just me or if you've seen it too. There's like this sorority. I think it's like Oklahoma or Oregon, one of the states with an O, and like on their TikTok, they're like doing like Rush Talk, right? But it's, like, not your, like, traditional rush talk, like, it's very, like, different and, like, funny vibes, like, if I was in a sorority, I think that's the sorority I wanna be in. It just seems like a good time all around.
Y'all, I love me like, that's, like, a guilty pleasure, like, I love me some Southern, specifically, like, Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, like, Rush Talk, like, I love the richness of it, like, the outfit of the days, like, I love it all. I love the drama when Rush is over and people get dropped, like, it is just so good. But, yeah, I've seen that exact same, like, sorority that you're talking about, Liz. Like, they did a theme where it was, like, all blue, like, some people were avatars and stuff. It was so funny, and they did, like, some other themes that I saw, and it was really good because, I think now is, like, rush week for, like, a lot of places, but before that is work week, so they do, like, a lot of themes during that too, and I was like, "See, now, I wouldn't mind being a sorority like, that's just fun with the themes. Because one thing about me, I love a good theme. So, yeah, I was just like, if I were to join a sorority, I would wanna be in a cool one like that, and it's just so good, and I'm just sad for the drama every year. And I also like watching, like, sorority videos on YouTube, like, trust, I will watch the Rush vlogs on YouTube, with the oversaturated thumbnails. Yep, I will watch those. And I like watching the sorority house move-ins as well, like, I don't know, it's just all that has always been so fascinating for me, like, y'all know the OGs, Lauren Norris, Maddie Westbrook, yep, and many others. Just so good. And then our last bit of news. This is more for like the Love Island girlies, specifically Love Island USA, or no, Love Island UK season 5. Molly May and Tommy Fury broke up. When I tell you I was sick, I literally watched season 5 just for them. Good thing I didn't dedicate all my energy towards it. Good thing I'm bad at watching TV shows. So I only watched a couple episodes, but it was like so cute to see the beginning of their story though, and knowing that like they were engaged and have a baby. But now my dreams are crushed. They were literally the Love Island like it couple, and I'm just like, wow. Actually, though, I'm not surprised though because I feel like recently, within like the past year or so, I remember seeing some TikToks about like Tommy maybe not acting the best, especially when Molly was pregnant. Like he was out clubbing with girls on him. I don't know. People are, if y'all can see Liz's face, my exact reaction. People are speculating that he might have cheated on her, but we'll see. I think they're a really cute couple, and they're really cute together with their daughter, like the way they both interact with her. I mean, they have a baby together, so they'll always have to be in each other's lives. But I'm just like, wow. I've gotten so many TikToks of like British people's reactions because I know like Molly May and Tommy Fury are also like a lot more popular over there. But yeah, that's all I have to say for the pop culture and trendy topics.
And now we're gonna get into the what we are watching segment. For me personally, I have been slacking on TV. Like nothing has caught my attention, and here I go. You already know exactly what I'm gonna say. Nothing has caught my attention since Maxton Hall, y'all. Like it's just not the same. But I've like been on and off watching. It Ends with Us because I'm still watching that show. I think I'm back to being hooked because there was like this little storyline going on with like I thought that a couple in the future got divorced, but I just found out that they didn't get divorced, and I'm really really happy because they're my favorite couple on the show. But yeah, other than that, like nothing's just been catching my attention. Patiently waiting for Max and Hall season 2.
I had the same sentiment as Liz, not about Max and Hall, but about that nothing has really been catching my eye. But I did just start a documentary because I heard Remy Cruz talk about it on Pretty Basic. There's this Hulu doc called The Perfect Wife. It's like a true crime docu series. It's 3 episodes, and it's like this really crazy story. I like know about this case. Like I've watched multiple YouTube videos, but I always still like watching like documentaries and stuff because they might have like more information and just more information that is left out of YouTube videos. But basically, if you're not familiar, there's this girl named Cherry Pipin, something like that. I'm sure y'all all know this case. This woman basically she ends up faking her own kidnapping, and it's like this huge thing. It's really crazy. Like, if you are interested in that type of stuff, you should definitely go watch it. I'm only like 30 minutes in. Literally was watching it before we started recording, but it's like really interesting. Of course, everyone thought it was like the husband, but like it's like crazy because like her ex-boyfriend is like involved too. Like her ex-boyfriend, like she kind of recruited him to do it, but then like she just like showed up randomly like 3 months later. Mind you, she has kids. Just like a whole mess. And there's like a little bit of racism to it because she tried to say like these like Mexicans try to steal her away. And yeah, and it was just like, girl, what? And then like it's found out that like she was like really racist. Like they found like this racist thing from her past. It's like a whole big thing. That's like the back then like version of like old tweets. It was like an old like letter or something she published. So yeah, it's like a really crazy story. So if you're interested in it, I think you should check it out because it's only 3 episodes. So yeah, that's what I've been watching. And then on to our song of the week. I'm coming in with the rap song this week, and that is Good Form by Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne. So I'll play the part that I like real quick for you guys. It's an army. Yeah, in the twist, but he fuck with the Barbie. So yeah, that song is just obviously a good vibe, especially because it's summer, a good little bop. So yeah, if you haven't listened to it, you just have to listen to the one with Lil Wayne in it because it just hits different.
For my song of the week, it's a Spanish song. It's called Igual que un ángel by Cali Uchis and Peso Pluma. I like listening to this song like at night with the windows down. Something about it, it just hits different. And with that, we're going to go into the topic of this episode. So, if you listened to our episode last week, you know that we talked about kind of like the transition from like girlhood to womanhood and gave our experiences and thoughts. And that kind of started like got us thinking, more about like the whole topic of like femininity and like womanhood and like just being a fellow girly and everything. So, in today's episode, we're just going to be like chatting about some different topics that really like stuck out to us or like stand out to us and just giving our thoughts, opinions, and whatnot. So it's gonna be a very chatty episode, kind of all over the place, but that's just how our brains work when we were thinking about this topic. So, our first one that we're going to get into is just like overall general like standards for women. Kennedy, do you want to kind of like explain what we mean by this?
So, like Liz said, we are going to be getting into the standards for women. So, we kind of split it up. We're going to be talking about beauty standards, gender roles, and all that type of stuff. We're not going to go too in depth with beauty standards because we're going to get more into it later. But I know, at least for me, I've always knew from like a young age that I was not the beauty standard. So that was never really something that I was worried about. If you couldn't tell from our voices, we are American. And I feel like in America and a lot of other places in the world, at least like I would say maybe European countries, yeah, or in others similar to that, the beauty standard is like, blonde hair, blue eyes. And spoiler alert, me and Liz are like the complete opposite of that. So yeah, from a young age, I've just always learned that like, I'm not that, and that's not like a bad thing. I'm just not that. That doesn't mean like I'm ugly, not beautiful, yada yada yada. I feel like what I really have struggled with though is maybe fitting into the beauty standards within like my own community. I don't even know how I can like even describe it. Like I don't really know how to like describe the like black woman beauty standard without like trying to sound like stereotypical, but I feel like the most popular mainstream beauty standard is I would equivalent to like the baddie aesthetic or like the rapper's baby mama aesthetic. So just like, designer everything, like 40-inch bust down middle part, long acrylic nails, things like that. And I just never really resonated with that. A full beat face of makeup. I don't even wear makeup. I don't do my nails. So I always just had to learn like just because I don't look like that, that's fine.
Yes, Kennedy, I agree with everything you said, but just like applying it to me, I think it's really important how you said like like you didn't want to sound like stereotypical, but like overall, like beauty standards, they are so stereotypical. Like it's like if you're thinking of a white person, like white hair, not white hair, blonde hair, blue eyes, like that kind of thing, like it's all so stereotypical that like you don't want to fall into it or like accept those stereotypes, but like it's just the way that it is. But I also agree with Kennedy, like I've known that like I'm not that beauty standard for like the community that I live in, But then, like, looking within my community, I also feel like I don't fit that beauty standard. I feel like I'm just, like, in limbo, like, I don't fit either or, you know? But yeah, I agree with that. And we're gonna get more in depth, like we said, with beauty standards a little bit later on in the episode. But another standard for women is just overall gender roles. So what we mean by this is just like the different expectations for like being a woman and everything. Like, you know, staying at home, but like now in modern society, like also like working, but like you don't want to work too much because you still need to be at home, but like you're not supposed to be at home all the time because you need to work. You know, it's just so like everything like contradicts each other. So we're like you can't fit into fully like the gender role that like society wants for you, if that makes sense.
And I feel like low key, that's kind of like you can tie that conversation into the trad wife trend that has come up, where these influencers try to like portray this lifestyle, or maybe certain people want to have that lifestyle, but they assume, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like traditionally, when you hear a stay at home mom, the mom's job is literally to take care of the house. But when you see these stay at home moms on TikTok, a lot of people don't understand that, like, yeah, they're stay at home moms, and yes, that in itself is work, but like they're making money from it, if that makes sense. So I feel like that can like get confused a lot in our media.
Yes, Kennedy, especially with all of like the like influencer moms nowadays with like TikTok and everything. There's so many like content creators that are moms and that's like their content, but they don't show the kid too much and people don't understand like that's their job, you know? So it's really like I don't know, it's just like a weird world or like point that we are with like social media and how like even that's affecting like the different gender roles and everything. Oh, and then like another like with that same exact thing with like the gender roles, like having to like always look like presentable and like looking your best while men can just like, you know, just be there and you know, they don't be looking their best half the time I feel like. But with that, it's just like you have to work, but you have to look good, but you have to be home with the kids. But if you're home with the kids, you like still got to look good. You can't have like throw up all over you, you know? It's just like very much hypocritical and like everything just like contradicts each other and like you can't do it all fully.
Heavy on the we always have to look our best, and men are just allowed to like have no type of hygiene practices. It's actually annoying. Like, I feel like for me, I've just have always grown up to like know that like when you leave the house you need to look presentable. You don't gotta look like, all dolled up, but you gotta look right. And I just feel like with men, they can just go out in this world and just be stinking or whatever. And it's just like, oh, boy, it'll just be boys. Oh, they just stink. But if it was a girl, oh, they would be clowning you. Like, I remember this one time when I did track for like what, 1 month approximately before COVID happened, and we were like working out, and the boys, like some of them, all of them combined, actually stunk so bad. And somebody that was on the girls like track team with me was like, oh, the boys stink. And then the coach was like, haha, like he was laughing about it. I'm like, why can boys just be stinky and we think it's funny? Because it's really not. Like, you're assaulting my nostrils right now. Like, I don't think that's funny. So I just think it's weird that we have that thing in society where boys can be stinky but girls can't. Like, I don't think anyone should be stinky. Like, we have soap, we have water, we have resources for a reason. Like, I just think everyone should, have our hygiene up. And then I just feel like I just see the most craziest social media posts where like girls are talking about these bad hygiene stories that they've seen from men, like dirty fingernails. Maybe they don't wipe themselves properly after doing a number two. I'm just like, are we really like, that's actually insane.
No, because going off of that, like, I know you've seen, like, Reddit stories or, like, Reddit posts of, like, people who, like and it's mostly guys, let's be real, it's guys. They, like, don't, like, wash their feet in the shower or, like, they just, like, stand and let, like, the shampoo from their hair just kinda, like, go down and clean their body. Like, what? That just doesn't make sense to me because I feel like I've always known, like, that's just not how you clean yourself, you know? Like, I just oh, it just doesn't make sense.
And why is it that every boy goes through a phase, mostly when they're younger, that like they just don't shower? They don't, like, I remember with my brother, not to expose him, even though I was like little, so, and he was older, but I remember like my parents would ask him like, "Did you shower today?" Like, you just can't spray on cologne before you go to school, and that'd be fine. Like, you actually got to shower.
No, because I am gonna expose my brother here. He also went through that phase, but this man was like creative with it. Like he would like take a shower, quote unquote, and he would turn on the shower so it sounded like he was showering, and then he would like get his hair wet underneath the sink so it looked like he showered instead of just hopping in the shower and taking the shower. Like he did all of that instead of taking a 5-minute shower. Like it is not that hard. And then our next little thing, it's kind of like a standard too, like going off like the like looking your best, but the having to I feel like I don't know if this is, like, a Southern thing or if it's, like, overall, but just having to be, like, polite, respectful, like, quiet. You have to be the one that's, like, there and, like, just, like, listening and just following along. Like, you can't have your own mind, you know?
Yeah, like you have your own opinion, or no, you can't have your own opinion. And if you do it, you're looked at like you're weird, but really everyone else is weird. And I just feel like they just want women to just be like, just there. But at the same time, they want you to carry the weight of literally just everyone and everything. Like they just want you to be like, I don't even know how to describe it, like the foundation of everything, but like not talking. I don't know. Like they just want you to be a statue, literally, that they could just control, or like a pet you can just control. And yeah, I feel like it definitely is a very like Southern thing. So yeah. So I don't need a Southern man. Sorry, guys. And then another thing that I've seen on the internet that I feel like kind of fits with gender roles is there's like this whole trend about like the feminine energy versus masculine energy. And I did not like it because I felt like this trend was kind of reinforcing gender roles because like why are all the like ambitious and strength traits for the men, but the women traits were like supposed to be like tender, loving, caring, yada yada yada. And I'm like, why are we pushing this rhetoric out back in the world when we're trying to like go away from the societal norm? Like I don't know, like people were just be like people really just had huge think pieces. Like people have made multiple YouTube videos about it, like, oh, like this is how to reclaim your feminine energy, and like being masculine in any way is like a bad thing. I'm just like, why are we just like we all just have normal human traits. Let's stop trying to like put certain traits for different genders. Let's just all be human and try to be our best.
Yes, Kennedy, like, you can be anything and still have those traits, like, it doesn't follow your gender, like, and all that. I agree. I hadn't even heard about that trend, honestly, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm, like, thinking of, like, how even, like, maybe not following the trend, we still, like, follow that with other trends, you know? I feel like there's a lot of trends that kinda, like, assert that, like, femininity versus, like, masculinity and everything without us even, like, realizing in the moment. And our next little segment is beauty standards. So we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but in like the definition is beauty standard are typical form of beauty, and typical is in quotes and everything. So I feel like in society there's like overall there's just like that one stereotypical like body that like you have to have that, and if you don't have that, like you don't have the right body, you know? And we talking like skinny, but like curvy, but like, like that kind of body and everything that society tells you is like quote unquote like normal in the typical body. But then even then, we kind of talked about this early, how like beauty standards like change within like each different community and society, which is just like I don't know, it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, I feel like at one point, I'm trying to think of like as we were growing up, that's how I kind of like think of it. When we were like super, super young, like maybe like kindergarten, like the early 2000s, I feel like it was really like super skinny model, like you kind of look unhealthily skinny, like that was the beauty trend. But then I feel like as we got into like middle school and like high school, it was like the Fashion Nova model, with the BBL, that type of thing. That was very trendy, big lips, all that stuff. And now I feel like society is trying to like embrace different body types more. Like people are starting to like get their BBLs reversed or whatever it is. I don't even know. I just know people are getting things reversed, taken out, like butt implants taken out, and we're trying to like go back to more natural. But I feel like low key, a lot of things are like very performative because I feel like yes, embrace different body types, but I feel like it shouldn't be like a whole thing. Like this is how it already should be, if that makes sense. Like I feel like a lot of brands are like, here, yeah, we're inclusive. Look at all these models or whatever. But it's like this is how it should have been. Like it shouldn't be made like a big deal because this should be the standard.
Yes, especially Kennedy with like the whole people are getting like their like lip injections like I don't know the correct terminology, but they're getting them, like, removed or, like, undone or whatever, and same with, like, sometimes, like, Botox on, like, under eyes and things like that, but, like, I feel like I've seen that a lot, especially, like, people who were, like, upfront about, like, "Oh, like, I got this done to me, I got this done to me," and they're, like, slowly, like, kinda, like, stepping away from that, so I feel like we're moving, like, towards not that it's, like, wrong to get those things, but we're moving towards, like, a more, like, you don't have to have these things to be considered pretty or, like, to fall under the beauty standard of, like, having that typical body, if that makes sense.
Yeah, people they're getting like their fillers dissolved. That's the word. And I feel like with that change as well, like hopefully it helps people not compare themselves. Cause I know I feel like the Kardashians were like a big like face of the movement when we were like in middle school and high school of like, big butts, big lips. And I know like a lot of people have said like they have ruined beauty standards for women, and a lot of people have compared themselves to them. And I've even seen clips from like Kylie crying about that on the show, which I'm like, do I feel bad? I don't know. And honestly, within myself, I don't know, it's kind of hard to remember. But in terms of like comparing myself, I feel like I honestly haven't like struggled with that to the extent that other people have in terms of looks. Like I've never wanted a BBL or okay, lip filler sometimes I ain't even gonna lie. Sometimes I'm like, what if I just had like a little plump? I don't know, but I don't think it would look right on me. I definitely have thought, ooh, what if I got a boob job? But I feel like more like as technology has like grown and stuff, we have just gotten more information about things and we all know that it's not all cracked up that it is to look a certain way to like keep up with the maintenance. Like I remember I watched this video of this girl that was around me and Liz's age that got a BBL and like something else done at the same time. In that video, I mean, I never wanted a BBL, but after that video, I was even more sure that I do not want a BBL. After that, sis literally had blood leaking out of her like incisions, and I was like, mm. But yeah, I just always try to remember that, like, God made me who I am, like, and I'm unique looking, maybe. I don't know. Is that like a good way to describe myself? I don't know. But like, I just try to remember, like, I don't know, that I'm natural and I look good. That sounds conceited. I don't know. I hope y'all understand what I'm trying to say.
No, because I understand, Kennedy. I think by unique you mean like nobody looks like you, like you're your own person, individual, like that kind of thing. But I also agree with Kennedy. I feel like for me, sometimes like Kennedy said, like I get those like random thoughts like, oh, what if I got like a boob job done or something like that, like random thoughts. But then like in the grand scheme of things, I like think like nah, like like my body like fits me. Things fit me how they're supposed to fit me, and I look the way I look like for a reason and everything. So I feel like you just have to like really like remind yourself of those things, especially when you like in with social media and everything, like where you constantly have like all like this type of body pushed at you or like this thing pushed at you and everything. Like it things like seem like normal to get done and everything all the time. But like I mean everybody like make their own decision and like you're gonna do what's best for you. But it's just kind of like having to like sit back and like think like no like I was made this way for like a reason and everything. But again, we do not like condone if you are getting like these procedures done. Like do what you need to do to like make you feel good and confident in yourself, that kind of thing. And then so another little thing kind of like going off of like beauty standard, pretty privilege. Kennedy, I know we've talked about this in our group chat so much. I don't know if you want to like kind of explain like what is pretty privilege for those of our listeners who don't know or haven't heard of this before.
So if you don't know, pretty privilege is basically just getting special treatment because you're pretty. This can really mean I feel like more I see it is like when it comes to like guys, I guess, getting into places, like you don't have to wait in line, you get free drinks, you just get treated special, nicer, things like that, which I just think is so messed up. Yeah, so that's what it is. I feel like pretty privilege also exists like within friendships as well and not just romantic relationships. And by friendships, I mean like towards like picking your friends. Like some girls will only be friends with other girls or boys too, based on their looks. Cause to them, I guess that means it's like a status thing to them. So yeah, so that's I think a lot of people don't realize that. But it is.
Yes, and with that, it can be like obviously it's conscious, but at the same time it's kind of like subconsciously engraved in you. Like you want people that like meet your standard of pretty or like look like you because if they don't, then people are going to like give you side looks. And I feel like you can tell that like in high school with like the different cliques that exist, like you wouldn't see like the preppy popular people talking to like I don't know, like the emo people or something like that because like it wouldn't go with like their pretty privilege or like the group that they need to surround themselves with. So it's very like conscious decisions, but at the same time, you don't even realize that you're like doing that when it comes to like friendships or like romantic relationships, like finding the people who kind of like compliment you or are going to add something to your pretty privilege, if that makes sense. And also, there is a distinction between pretty privilege and being nice. Like, being nice, you're nice to everyone, but with pretty privilege, like it just automatically like comes to you, like you just, I don't know, it's like a magnet or something. That's kind of how I think of it.
Yes, I agree, and I wanted to add something else, especially we were talking about, like, the different groups in high school. I feel like low key okay, I know I subconsciously, I see people and I think, like, "Oh, like, I could be their friend," based off, like, not looks as in, like, attractiveness, but just, like, their approachability and, like, what it seems like they're interested in, like, "Oh, maybe we could, like, hit it off." And I guess, like, same with, like, boys too. I don't really know. I feel like when I'm talking about boys, I am more drawn to like personality. So I feel like that would be different and obviously looks as well because I'm not one of those fake people that gonna be telling y'all looks ain't nothing. They are to me. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna date someone that I think is ugly. Like what? But anyways, about the click thing. So I think that whole mindset honestly could like really be a detriment to you because you could be missing out on so many good connections you don't even know. Like I just see that through like y'all know that trend where it's like, oh, my husband would have thought that we would have dated back in high school, and like they show like throwback pictures of them, and it's like, oh, the boyfriend was like the high school quarterback, super popular, and then like the girlfriend was like a band nerd. So that's what I'm saying. Like those type of things, like I feel like let's cut it out. Like you could really be holding yourself back from literally your soulmate or a really good friend. So yeah, pretty privilege can really hold you back in that way. I think there is nothing more annoying than someone who doesn't realize they have pretty privilege. I know Liz can relate to that. Especially, I feel like honestly, a lot of minorities can relate to that because we're not, for the most part, I feel like unless you're like the pretty privilege of like, the country or the pretty privilege in your minority group, then like you probably aren't benefiting from it. Not that's not saying anyone's ugly or anything. It's just how it is, unfortunately.
Yes, and this kinda, like, ties into, like, the whole beauty standard thing because, like, most of the time, you have pretty privilege because you fit into that beauty standard in some way. So, like, kinda like what Kennedy's saying, it's like, in a predominantly white society, like, a person of color isn't gonna, like, receive that same amount of pretty privilege, a whole tongue twister, because, like, they don't fit into, like, that stereotypical beauty standard of that, like, predominant society, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, like, on a personal level, I mean, like, yes, sometimes I feel like I might have pretty privilege, but it's very much, like, very few times compared to, like, the majority of the time, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, you're gonna get those, like, couple times, but that doesn't, like when you look at the grand scheme, I feel like, personally, I don't see myself benefiting from pretty privilege, oh my gosh, as much as, like, somebody else, if that makes any sense. I keep on saying if that makes any sense, but, like, I feel like I'm just rambling, so I don't know if my thoughts are coming out clearly.
No, I'm like you too, Liz. I'm like, is what I'm saying even making sense? I feel like I'm just talking in circles. But me personally, I feel like I've never benefited from pretty privilege. I feel like if anything, I've just benefited from normal privilege. And by that I mean looking normal and just like looking nice. Like I feel like in the past, like I can definitely tell when pretty privilege has like come and play in terms of like friendships. Because I feel like there's been times when people just don't act like I exist, but then there's like someone near me who I would say fits into like the pretty privilege mode in either way, and like they get like attention, whether it's like friendship or from boys, yada yada yada. And it's like, I'm here. But I just think everyone should be nice. Because like I was like I noticed once I transferred schools, like it is like more further south than I've ever, been before. But like this is like the good type of like southern hospitality. Like everyone is generally just so nice. Like people open the door for you. I remember I was like at a protest and this guy, my backpack was open. He literally zipped it up for me. Like just nice things like that happen. I'm like, I need that. Like I need that everywhere. Like people are just so nice. And that may literally sound like the bare minimum, but when I tell y'all where I'm from, or even in like the surrounding big cities, okay, actually, I don't know about the surrounding big cities, but at least where I'm from, when I tell y'all, they will literally let the door shut in your face. Like they will not hold the door open for you. I actually vividly remember I was even in a basketball game. And there's this basketball player in front of me, and it was like a bunch of girls like on the cheer team. We were leaving out. He very much didn't hold the door for us. I was like, oh, thanks. So yeah, I just think everyone should be nice. I feel like, yeah, I've never had pretty privilege. I think maybe if I'm like with my friends, maybe I benefit from their pretty privilege if I'm with them.
And our last little segment is pet names. So here's like the little definition because I feel like pet names differ, especially like when you're in a relationship and like what your significant other calls you. Like we're not talking about that kind of pet name. Like significant other pet names. Those are nice. Those are nice. But like overall, like the definition of a pet name is it's generally used in intimate relationships in place of names. The names are usually thought of based on experience of the relationship. So, like I said, like that kind of like reinforces like the whole like in a relationship, like that's okay because you have that intimate connection. You probably have that pet name because of like something that y'all both share that like makes sense to y'all. But here we're talking about pet names when like it's random people calling you. Not just any random people though. When it's like men in general, like I don't mind like the little old ladies, that's just the way they talk. When it's men, and it's just like here's like some examples. I don't know if Kennedy maybe has another ones that come to mind, but here's ones that came up to mind for me. Like sweetie, honey, honey pie, or baby. I absolutely hate being called those names by men. Like I literally feel like spiders crawling down my back and my arms when I hear it. It gives me chills and makes me feel so uncomfortable. It's just like I know that there's more intent to that name. Especially because like I don't know you. There is no intimate connection. Kennedy, what do you have to add?
I'm definitely right there with Liz. I do not like it when men say pet names. I feel like for me, the most what I've heard is just like them call me honey or sweetie. And again, I don't mind it when it's old ladies, but I ain't even gonna lie. I did thought we were coming from this from a relationship angle, so I was like, "Ew, I hate pet names." Like even just saying like baby, like that is so cringy to me. Like when I get in a relationship, I don't think I could ever imagine calling my boyfriend that. I don't even think I could call him like babe. Like I don't even know. I don't know what I would call him. I think I would just come up with a nickname for him or something. I feel like I could call someone babe. Ugh. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm just like, ew. I don't like pet names. And I feel like for me, I think like that's why I don't like the concept of flirting either. Cause like with pet names, I'm like, just call me my name. And when it comes to flirting, don't try to flirt me up. Just talk to me like a normal human being, please. So yeah, I don't know what it is about pet names. I just find them so cringy. And like I'm not like a cold, heartless person. Like if you listen to this podcast, me and Liz are big hopeless romantics, but something about pet names is gonna cringe me out every single time.
No, because same Kennedy, like I feel like the stereotypical pet names, I cannot be called those in a relationship. Absolutely not. And I feel like it's because of like it just reminds me of when strangers or like old men call me those names that like why would I want to be called that then in a relationship? I feel like I just associate those names with that it just even if it's someone like that I like and we have that intimate connection, I can't be called the stereotypical pet names. It has to be something like unique or like something like just a nickname or like something else because yeah, no, like Kenny said, I cannot be called like baby, babe. No, that's just like it's so cringy and it just oh my god, I can't. I'm gonna.
No, like I literally cringe. I cannot. Like you have like an association with those words, which is valid, but truly, like my whole life, have just thought they're so cringy. Like it makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. Like yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be like one of those. I don't actually. I'm not gonna say that. I was about to say I'm gonna be like one of those girls who just like on TikTok that you see just like every like intimate thing. She's like, ugh! but like, but like I don't know. We'll see whenever I get in my first relationship. We're manifesting that with a European man. But anyways, um, those are all my thoughts for today's episode. Liz, do you have any lasting thoughts you want to share to our loungers?
If you guys like this episode, we would love to do another little like chit chatty vibe. Let us know like other topics that you want us to talk about because I really love just like ranting and just even though it doesn't make sense half the time what I'm saying. It's therapeutic in its own way, you know, Kennedy?
Yes, I'm right there with you. I love these chatty episodes. Like, we're really embodying the lounge part. Like, it feels like we're all sitting in the living room, we're lounging, and I love it. If you didn't know, on Spotify, you can actually like comment down below, like as if it's a YouTube video, and we'll be able to see it. And I'm pretty sure like it too. I don't know about reply. So if you have any ideas or any thoughts about this episode, definitely comment them below. I don't think either of us have any thoughts, so we're gonna go ahead and close out this episode. You know what to do. Make sure you're following, leave a review, rate it, all those good things. And subscribe to our YouTube because some things might be coming to that soon. I don't know. You didn't hear that from me. And I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. I'm sure for a lot of you guys, school has started. So good luck with school. And we will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.